the Democrats. Very little money to Republicans, by the way. A lot of money to Democrats. And they're going to have to decide, do they want to do the right thing or do they want to be beholden to the, insurance companies? They're making a fortune. I want the money to go to the people. Go ahead, Oz. How would you say that?
I agree with the president. We have some ideas out there. Congress is working through some concepts. But I just want to emphasize that the ACAs are not imploding based on the data we just received from the federal marketplace.
This can go very quickly, actually. Yes, please.
Mr. President, can I ask you, clarify something for me on the Federal Reserve? How many people are you interviewing for the Fed chairman, and what did you think of Chris Waller?
I think he's great. I mean, he's been a man who's been there a long time, somebody that I was very involved with in the sense of his career, and he's a fantastic man. I met him yesterday, again.
So how many people are you looking at?
We're talking to 3 or 4. I think every one of them would be a good choice, honestly. We'll be making a decision pretty quick.
Is Michelle Bowman on that list too? Are you going to interview her?
She's fantastic. She's a fantastic person.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some GOP lawmakers have written to you in recent days saying they're concerned this executive order could normalize drug use for youth. How would you respond to them?
You're talking about this particular today? Well, I think I'd let one of the doctors respond to it because he can do it a lot better than me. But I can only tell you that when you see polls of 82% of the people want this, when I have friends that are really, really sick and they've gone through, I guess you could say, unfortunately, I don't want to become too involved in it because I don't want it happening. But these are people that really know what's going on. Very smart people. This is one of the most successful people in the country and a very brilliant guy. And when they go through this horrible ordeal of cancer or other things, and they realize that this is something that makes them feel better without all of the side effects of some of the drugs where you're just totally knocked out and out of it. But I'd like to have one of the doctors maybe respond because you people do it better than anybody.
I'm happy to respond.
Yes.
I mean, and my answer is we have had cannabis scheduled for how long? And it hasn't protected neither the adolescents nor the adults. We have 20 million people in the United States with a cannabis use disorder. This is not legalizing it. It's making easier to do research so that we can use it when it is indicated and optimally.
So it's also a big part of this is research. In other words, you'll now have a much larger sample and you'll be able to see if it's as good as many people say it is. I mean, people say it is beyond good, and you'll be able to find that out now.
On housing, you talked in your address last night about housing.
Yeah.
Are you still considering a national emergency over housing?
I'm looking at it.
What would that look like? What would that mobilize?
You know, there's 2 thoughts on housing. You have a lot of people have housing that because we have such a strong time and such a strong market, their houses are very valuable. It's a big part of their net worth, their house. I don't want to knock those numbers down because I want them to continue to have a big value for the house. At the same time, I want to make it possible for young people out there and other people to buy housing. In a way, they're at conflict. In other words, you create a lot of housing all of a sudden, and it drives the housing prices down. So I want to take care of the people that have houses that have a value to, to the house that they never thought possible, that have sort of made them wealthy and happy, and especially in their later years. Got to be careful with that. I want to keep them up. At the same time, I want to make it possible for people to go buy houses.
Daniel, please. Mr. President, you announced the Warriors dividend last night in your primetime speech. Very patriotic, very generous. What was the rationale and the thought process? How did you come up with the idea? What made you want to give back to our troops?
1776 was easy to come up with because we're actually at 1775. The number was 1775, and I said, wow. I think we can afford $1 more. But they came up to me, it was $1,775. So I said, well, let's add $1 to it. I think we can find that. And very simple, we've had a military that, in my opinion, by other presidents was not treated well. They're incredible. They're our finest people. They're protecting us. And because of tariffs, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars more than we ever have before, with no inflation, by the way, with no inflation. You saw the inflation numbers. They just came out today. What great timing. Practically no inflation. and yet we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And this is small potatoes by comparison, but it's a way of taking care of our warriors, our soldiers, and I appreciate that question.